My brothers and sisters, sometimes it is the simplest of things in life that hold the deepest meaning. We often overlook what Allah has placed around us for our benefit. Even something as ordinary as salt, which we use every day in our food, carries wisdom lessons and hidden blessings if only we reflect. For centuries, people across the world have used salt not just for taste, but for purity, for protection. It reminds us that Allah can place great benefit in even the smallest of His creations. Today, we will explore 7 powerful ways salt has been traditionally used in homes and what lessons we can draw from it, about health, atmosphere, and the importance of small actions that bring big change. So stay with me, because what you are about to discover may completely change the way you look at something as simple as salt. From the earliest civilizations to modern households, salt has held a powerful reputation that goes far beyond being a simple seasoning. While today most people see salt only as something to flavor their food, historically it has carried a deep symbolic meaning of purity, protection, and preservation. It was considered so valuable in ancient times that Roman soldiers were sometimes paid with it, giving rise to the word salary. But its true value was not only material, it was also spiritual and cultural. In many traditions, salt has been seen as a purifier. Because of its natural ability to preserve and prevent decay, salt came to symbolize protection against corruption and negativity. Just as salt keeps food from spoiling, people believed it could also keep homes and hearts from being spoiled by harmful influences. Placing salt in specific corners of the home or at entrances was thought to shield families from unseen negative forces. This practice is still alive in some cultures, where a small bowl of salt is kept near the door as a silent guardian against unwanted energies. Another reason salt was seen as pure is its association with cleansing. Before the invention of modern sanitizers, salt water was one of the oldest and most reliable natural disinfectants. Communities noticed that wounds washed with salty water healed faster and were less likely to be infected. Over time, healing quality translated into symbolic meaning. Salt came to represent purity of the body, mind, and soul. In many households, washing hands or sprinkling a pinch of salt was a way of starting fresh, free from impurities. Salt also played a role in spiritual rituals. In ancient cultures of the Middle East, Asia, and even Europe, salt was used in blessings and protective ceremonies. Some believed that throwing salt over one's shoulder would ward off bad luck. Others used it in rituals to protect newborns or to cleanse a home before moving in. These traditions, though diverse, all highlight one core belief: salt had the power to protect and preserve life from negativity, just as it preserved food from rot. But salt's symbolism doesn't stop at protection. It also represents loyalty and trust. Sharing salt with someone was historically seen as a bond of friendship. In some cultures, eating a meal with salt together created a covenant of peace, meaning betrayal afterward was considered deeply shameful. This shows that salt wasn't only about protection against evil, it also stood for integrity and honesty in relationships. Today, even though people may not always be aware of the old traditions, salt continues to play a symbolic role. Many households still quietly practice these rituals, placing salt in corners near windows or mixing it in water to mop the floors, believing it removes negativity. While science may explain some of these practices in terms of salt absorbing moisture or cleansing surfaces, the deeper meaning is psychological and spiritual. It reminds people that their homes are not only physical spaces, but also spiritual sanctuaries that need protection. In essence, salt stands as a universal reminder of how something simple and common can carry profound meaning. It is a symbol of purity because it cleanses, a symbol of protection because it preserves, a symbol of loyalty because it bonds. Whether one sees it through the lens of tradition, science, or spirituality, the role of salt as more than just a kitchen ingredient continues to live on. By placing salt with intention in our homes, many believe they are not just practicing an old superstition, but rather connecting with a tradition that recognizes the unseen forces around us and seeks harmony and safety. And even if one does not fully accept the mystical aspects, the symbolism itself is powerful. Salt teaches us that purity, protection, and faith can be found in the simplest of things. When most people think of salt, they imagine it sprinkled on food to add taste. But salt has far more to offer than flavor. It has long been recognized for its hidden impact on health and the atmosphere within our homes. From physical wellness to the energy we feel around us, salt can play a powerful role, both scientifically and traditionally. One of salt's most important hidden qualities is its ability to absorb moisture. This is why salt left out in the open becomes clumpy. It is pulling water from the air. In households, placing bowls of salt in certain corners can reduce dampness, which in turn lowers the risk of mold and mildew growth. Mold is not only damaging to furniture and walls, but also a serious health hazard, causing respiratory problems, allergies, and headaches. By simply allowing salt to do what it naturally does, absorb excess moisture, the air in the home becomes cleaner and healthier to breathe. Salt also has antimicrobial properties, meaning it can kill or slow down the growth of harmful microorganisms. Before the invention of modern medicine, people used salt to disinfect wounds and sore throats, and even today, saline solutions are widely used for nasal cleaning and wound care. In a household setting, sprinkling salt or mixing it with water to mop floors can help eliminate bacteria and maintain a hygienic environment. This contributes to a healthier space, especially for children and elderly members of the family who are more sensitive to infections. Another hidden impact of salt lies in its ability to improve air quality through the release of negative ions. This is the concept behind Himalayan salt lamps, which are believed to purify the air and create a calming atmosphere. While scientific studies are still ongoing, many people report that keeping salt lamps in their homes makes them feel more relaxed, helps with sleep, and reduces stress. Whether through actual ion release or psychological comfort, the result is the same. Salt contributes to a healthier, more serene home environment. Beyond physical health, salt has also been connected with emotional and spiritual well-being. In many cultures, salt is placed in rooms or under beds as a way of absorbing negativity. While some see this as a superstition, others view it as a symbolic act that carries real psychological benefits. Knowing that your home is protected, even by a simple bowl of salt, can reduce feelings of fear, anxiety, and tension. It's a reminder that you are taking steps to cleanse not only your physical surroundings, but also the emotional atmosphere of your space. Sleep quality is another area where salt is said to have hidden effects. Stale or polluted air, combined with stress, often leads to poor sleep. Placing salt in bedrooms or even using salt lamps is believed to improve the freshness of the air, which can make sleeping easier and deeper. Good sleep then translates into better mental health, improved focus, and higher productivity during the day. Additionally, salt's presence in the home serves as a subtle motivator for cleanliness and order. For centuries, families associated salt with purity and blessings. Keeping salt bowls or using salt in cleaning rituals was more than hygiene. It was an act of respect toward the home itself. This created a positive cycle. A cleaner home led to better health, which in turn fostered a calmer and more positive family atmosphere. In short, salt's hidden impact on health and atmosphere cannot be underestimated. It reduces dampness, combats bacteria, freshens the air, encourages relaxation, and even enhances psychological peace. When placed thoughtfully around the home, salt serves as both a natural purifier and a silent guardian of well-being. So the next time you see salt not just in your kitchen, but also in a corner of your room, remember, it is doing far more than waiting to flavor your food. It is quietly working to make your environment healthier, lighter, and more peaceful. In our fast-paced world, it is easy to overlook the small and simple actions that can create meaningful transformation in our lives. We often chase after big goals, major opportunities, or dramatic changes, forgetting that even the smallest of habits done consistently can shift the direction of our health, mindset, and even our spiritual state. The practice of placing salt in different corners of the home is a perfect example of how a seemingly small act carries symbolic and practical power, reminding us that great change often begins with little steps. Throughout history, cultures have preserved small practices that may appear insignificant at first glance. Sprinkling salt in doorways, burning a leaf, lighting a lamp, or reciting a prayer before leaving home. These practices are not powerful because of the physical action alone, but because they anchor our hearts and minds in a sense of protection, intention, and positivity. A bowl of salt in the corner may not seem like much, but for someone who believes it brings purity or peace, it changes the way they perceive and interact with their environment. That shift in perception can create calmness, confidence, and motivation, proving that small actions ripple outward into bigger effects. This concept is not only cultural or traditional, but also deeply practical. Consider how small steps in health create long-term benefits. Drinking an extra glass of water each day, walking for 10 minutes, or getting to bed half an hour earlier. Each action on its own may feel too small to matter, but over time, they build up to improved physical health, mental clarity, and emotional balance. Similarly, placing salt in the home as a sign of cleansing or protection may seem symbolic, but it sets the tone for a lifestyle of mindfulness and care for one's surroundings. The same truth applies to our spiritual lives. In Islam and other faith traditions, small daily actions hold immense value. Uttering a short prayer, giving a smile, sharing even a small act of kindness can weigh heavily in the scales of good deeds. The Prophet Muhammad said, "Do not belittle any good deed, even if it is meeting your brother with a cheerful face." As a Muslim, this teaches us that nothing is too small when done with sincerity and good intention. Small acts done consistently unlock blessings, and shift destinies in ways we cannot imagine. From a psychological perspective, small actions matter because they create momentum. Trying to overhaul one's entire life at once is often overwhelming and unsustainable, but small repeated actions are manageable, and with time they create powerful habits. Placing salt around the home may not seem like a major change, but it signals a willingness to invite positivity, cleanliness, and protection into one's environment. That single action can spark a chain of other positive habits, such as decluttering, improving hygiene, or cultivating gratitude for the home itself. The lesson here is that big change does not always require big steps. Sometimes the greatest transformations come from the simplest practices when done with consistency, belief, and mindfulness. A grain of salt may seem tiny, but millions of grains together preserve food for months. Likewise, a single small action repeated daily has the power to preserve our health, uplift our hearts, and change our lives in ways we never expected. So the next time you feel overwhelmed by the challenges in your life or the negativity around you, remember you don't have to start with a grand solution. Begin with one small step, a prayer, a gesture of kindness, a moment of reflection, or even placing a pinch of salt in your home. With time, these little acts compound into something far greater, proving that small actions truly bring big change.